Tuesday morning on the CBS, take two. Wednesday morning on the CBSN, Minnesota's Daybreaker. I'm just kidding, there is no take two. I'm Jason DeRusha. Nice to have you with us here on CBSN Minnesota, as well as on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Let me know what day it is. Apparently, I need a little more of this, and we'll be ready to go. Let's get you up to date on the weather forecast for today. Gross, it's disgusting. It is warm and muggy. It's hot out there right now. It's going to be super sweaty this afternoon. Oh, gosh. I am really looking forward to picking up my son from soccer practice because he is going to smell ripe. Very ripe. So we got a stinky teenage boy forecast for Maple Grove at 1 p.m. this afternoon. Isolated storm chance again this afternoon, later this evening, I should say. And then, well, it's going to be hot again tomorrow. Cools down this weekend, though. That'll be nice. National Dog Day today. I love dogs. I grew up with dogs. I had a dog for a while. I miss having a dog. They're just so cute. Come on. So here on the CBSN Minnesota Daybreaker, we want you to give a shout out to your dog. So tell us your dog's name. If you want to post a picture, cool. What kind of dog do you have? How'd you get the dog? Any hilarious stories? I will tell a story about my former dog, Baxter, coming up. Baxter, little beagle basset hound. Leave your comments on Facebook. We'll read through a couple in a moment. We start with really troubling news from Kenosha, Wisconsin. Police confirm that several people were shot. The sheriff says 2 people died during overnight protests. Another person taken to the hospital. Who killed these people? Police tell us they're looking for at least one gunman. Earlier in the evening, demonstrators facing off with police, National Guard troops. For a third night in a row, the governor declared a state of emergency, doubled the number of National Guard troops. Bear in mind, Kenosha is a city of about 100,000 people. So they brought in 125 troops. Now they're doubling it to 250. But, you know, when you have protesters, you have agitators, counter-protesters. All of this violence following the police shooting of Jacob Blake on Sunday. His family says Blake is paralyzed from the waist down.
They shot my son 7 times. 7 times. Like he didn't matter.
Oh, yeah, 7 times. Watching that video is just brutal. Police have said little about what happened, which I find troubling, right? 3 days later, you compare this to the George Floyd shooting here in Minneapolis, where we had pretty good information as to what happened. Perhaps it would have been the same. We had bystander video that showed almost the whole thing. In Kenosha, all they've said is they were responding to a domestic dispute, and they still haven't even named the officers there. So lots and lots of questions in Kenosha. Hurricane Laura, another major news story that we're keeping our eye on today because this thing is gaining strength as it heads for the Gulf Coast. The hurricane right now, Category 3. That has to do with the strength of winds. This is a live look at 7:37 in Galveston, Texas. This is right on the Gulf Coast, and you can see kind of the waves starting to pick up there. Laura expected to make landfall tonight as a Category 4 storm. We're talking Hurricane Katrina-like storm surge. More than 500,000 people between Louisiana and Texas are under orders to evacuate. Officials say they got to get out of the storm's path right now. The surge up to 13 feet expected. It is going to bury neighborhoods, and that water creeping up in some spots already. We are on to night 3 of the Republican National Convention. Headliners tonight include Vice President Mike Pence and top advisor Kellyanne Conway, who just announced she is leaving the White House. Last night, First Lady Melania Trump center stage, speaking from the newly renovated White House Rose Garden. I don't know what you expected Mrs. Trump to say, but she said her husband is the kind of leader the country needs right now. She also expressed empathy for the millions of Americans struggling to cope with sickness and death from the coronavirus pandemic.
I know many people are anxious and some feel helpless. I want you to know you're not alone. My husband's administration will not stop fighting until there is an effective treatment or vaccine available to everyone.
Much of the evening designed to really show a softer side of the president than what we normally see. President was shown pardoning a convicted bank robber turned prisoners' rights activist. Some controversy, though, over Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who talked from Israel, the first Secretary of State to make a political convention speech in over 70 years. Some are saying it might have been a violation of the Hatch Act, which forbids federal employees from taking part in political activities while on duty. The State Department said he wasn't on duty. It was a personal capacity, didn't involve any use of government resources. Okay, you can vote for Kanye if you want to. Kanye West going to be on the Minnesota presidential ballot this November. Secretary of State says he met the requirements. He'll be on there as an independent. Kanye West will not be on the Wisconsin ballot. Authorities there say he did not file on time. There's soon going to be a new COVID-19 test option in Minnesota. Governor Tim Walz announcing that Minnesota will roll out a new saliva test statewide by October. Vault Health is the company that's going to run this lab in Oakdale, capable of processing as many as 30,000 samples a day. We're told the lab will cost nearly $15 million. The state is using federal funds to cover that expense. Against that backdrop, the CDC has quietly issued some new guidelines for who should get COVID-19 tests. Agency no longer recommends testing for most people without symptoms, even if you've been in close contact with somebody that we know had a positive test. CDC updated its website Monday, but they didn't really make a big deal out of this. They have not given context as to what this was about. Part of what they said on their website was that if you go get that test and it's negative, it doesn't mean you're not going to come down with coronavirus in the coming days. So perhaps they're trying to avoid the assurance that comes to people when they test negative. A Duluth couple never expected to welcome their newborn son 3 weeks early. Luckily, help arrived just in time.
It's just catching your own baby in the bedroom. Maybe a minute later he coos and comes to life, and like everything in that minute just changed so fast.
Yeah, it is crazy, isn't it? Ryan Glenn says his wife Sam suddenly went into labor at their home. They called 911. Less than 10 minutes later, Duluth firefighters showed up, and so did Ezra, their new son. Fire crews did get the family to the hospital safely. The new family visited the fire department yesterday to thank those firefighters. Ezra, nonplussed, just chilling throughout the whole thing. What a great story. Congrats to that family. Let's get back to our talker today. We're talking about dogs. We love dogs, right? Look, you guys are going to spend the rest of your day yammering about Mike Pompeo or going on and on about coronavirus, or certainly weighing in on your thoughts on other far more important issues. We want to know about your dogs. Eric is here. Eric, are people telling us about their dogs?
They sure are.
All right. I knew it. I knew they would.
They came through.
We could do this every day. And now it's the time to tell us about your pets.
Dogs, yeah.
Yep.
Annette says, Fawn is a wonderful dog, but terrified of noises outside my apartment. Poor dog.
Yep.
Laura, an awesome beagle from South Dakota. He's getting to be an old man, but still loves to play fetch like a puppy.
That's beagles, right? So Laura, I adopted a beagle basset hound, Baxter, and that dog had the loudest bark you would ever hear. And he never barked around us, but our neighbors in our condo were more than happy to leave us anonymous, obnoxious notes.
Speaking of Baxter, Ashley says our family's dog's name is Baxter.
It's a good name.
He's a Boxer Lab mix or a Boxador.
A Boxador, I love that. Is that Baxter? Do you think that Baxter is named after Baxter, Minnesota? Probably. My dog named after Ted Baxter.
Rescue from Kentucky, so maybe there's a Baxter, Kentucky.
Oh, could be, yeah.
Absolutely. Cool. And then Mary says we rescued a blue-eyed mini schnauzer 4 months ago. Blue-eyed mini schnauzer.
Blue-eyed mini
That's interesting.
Schnauzer.
Here's to our much-loved Bradley Cooper.
Oh, what a great name. It's so good. Dogs are the best, man. Happy National Dog Day to all those who celebrate. Thanks for hanging out with us on the CBSN Minnesota Daybreaker. Hey, CBSN Minnesota, your only local streaming news source. Did you know that? We're it. We're the best. We're number one. This is the best digital newscast in the Twin Cities, too, that's streaming.